Glenn Powell in a wet white t-shirt. Did we need that little mini scene? No. Was it necessary? No. Did it move the plot along? Absolutely not. But it was very much appreciated. So I just saw Twisters in IMAX. Let's talk about it. Directed by Lee Isaac Chung, stars Daisy Edgar Jones, Glenn Powell, Anthony Ramos. If you've never seen the 1996 film Twister, take a pill. Like, what's wrong with you? There is no way to talk about this movie without talking about that movie, but I don't want to keep y'all here long. You want to know, how is this movie? But there's no way to really answer that without talking about that original film. Now, what made that movie so special, and not just the special effects and the tornadoes and all that, yeah, that was fun and that was cool, and we really kind of like latched onto that, those of us who were young around that time, and also those of us who are old enough to remember the Universal Studios ride. I know they had it in Florida, Twisters, where they recreated one of the scenes, the drive-through scene in a ride. Like, they recreated a tornado, had a cow and everything. I mean, the cow wasn't real, but they had a cow. But what made that movie so special was the ensemble cast. Beautiful casting. You had Helen Hunt, Bill Paxton, the late Philip Seymour Hoffman, the dude from The Princess Bride. I can never pronounce his name, and I really feel bad about it. Sean Whalen. Sean Whalen is that dude. Like, he's one of my favorites. Has been since I was very little. Like, dude practically raised me, whether he likes it or not. But that very human story is what kept that movie, I think, grounded a little bit. That's kind of missing here. And it's missing because we're familiar with that first movie, the ensemble. And I think that's kind of what we're looking for here, but it's missing, it's lacking. We don't really have that almost home feeling, this sense of home in the movie. I don't know if I'm making sense. But we do have incredible leads in this movie who work very well together. And carry the movie very well. But that human aspect of the ensemble is missing. Now, you do have a good little ensemble. You have two separate groups here. And we really don't get to know the groups very well. That's kind of missing as well. And I hate to compare the two because I feel like this stands on its own just fine. But I think because we're so familiar with that 1996 film, please say it's 1996 film, we're gonna notice that's missing, that the impact of the ensemble. All right, I double checked. Yes, it was 1996. But our three leads here, Anthony Ramos, Daisy Edgar Jones, and Glenn Powell, I mean, together I feel like they represent kind of the three core parts of the human condition. You have caution, fear, and then just complete recklessness. Anthony Ramos is on the come up. I feel like he's not as known as he should be. The same with Daisy Edgar Jones. I can't remember if it was last summer or the summer before where she was in that Crawdad movie, and she was excellent in that. You have Glenn Powell, who is basically riding between being the Brad Pitt or the Tom Cruise of this generation. Like, he is always booked and busy. But anyways, about Twisters. There are some plot issues. The concept, the overall concept, is a little nonsensical. I don't know if it's believable enough, but that was so much fun. What even was a summer blockbuster last year? Yeah, we had Barbenheimer, but that's not really summer blockbuster. It was supposed to be Mission Impossible, which was so good, but that didn't take off the way it should have. This is what we have been missing from our summers. This right here, that's a summer blockbuster. That is a summer film. This is what we used to grow up on. It was always looking forward to that big summer movie. Oh, there was something nostalgic about this. Not just about the fact that, hey, we finally got a good summer blockbuster. Yeah, we're getting Deadpool and Wolverine. No, but this one right here, where it's just like good fun. Absolute fun. Whether it's good or bad quality, it doesn't. We're having fun. We're going to the movies and we're going to have fun. That was fun. It was intense. But it's also well done. I have so many questions. So, my understanding, this was shot in 35mm print, which nobody does except Christopher Nolan. He's insane though. But this is also kind of insane because I have so many questions. Because with this being shot in 35mm print, which means if you're going to shoot it old school like that, you're going to do some old school things, especially with practical effects. So I need a whole documentary on behind the scenes. I need to know what was visual effects, what was done in camera, and what was done on a computer. I need to know how the stunt work was done. I need to know what they decided to do with Foley because we're talking about tornadoes here and it's so loud and it sounds like a moving train plane or an airplane. And I just want to see behind the scenes of the Foley work, how they were able to create those noises, and also how they were able to use these noises to kind of mimic her trauma. Because we're talking about this woman named Kate who lost nearly her entire team in a school project gone wrong. And you can tell she's still kind of haunted, and it's the sound. There's this interesting little scene where she wakes up and the train is moving. If you know anything about film, when there's a train moving, that means there's a shift in the plot. God, the things that you remember. Funny enough. So I studied film in college, but before I got to college, I took a class my senior year of high school called Film is Literature. Supposed to be like an easy A kind of class, which it was, but it was essentially a film class. And one of the first films that we watched, the first one I remember us watching, was Twister. In terms of studying film, I mean, Twister has pretty much everything. Sound, color, narrative structure, mood, tempo, theme. The theme of Twister, the original one, is very interesting to kind of dissect. What else? Character development. And you see a lot of things repeated here in Twisters. We have this theme of time being repeated. In the first movie, the theme really is time, because it's all about them wanting to create a warning system, a better warning system for tornadoes, because they want people to have more time. It's also about this couple, Bill and Joe, who are getting a divorce. She needs to sign the last of the divorce papers, but she also has this thing that they're about to do where they're going to put these sensors up into a tornado, and it's part of Bill's design, and they're like, hey, come with us, come do this thing. I'm paraphrasing. And he's like, you got one day. So there's an interesting scene towards the end where it's sunset, which is our tell. That's to let us know time is up. But then we get another scene right after that movie theater scene, that drive-in theater scene, where we see the sun rise to let us know the clock has restarted, that our plot has shifted again, that we've run out of time, but we got one last thing to go. And also the way the original Twister incorporated the Wizard of Oz and the parallels there, not just the Dorothy machine, which is featured here at the very beginning in Twisters. That's kind of our connection between the movies, because we have that Dorothy system in the first movie, and now we can see that this Dorothy system has made its way through academia, and they're using it to study a tornado in the very beginning of the movie. But not just Dorothy, but also certain colors. The yellow pickup truck, the yellow brick road, and then we have the red pickup truck, the ruby slippers. And there's kind of an ode to that design there, that red and the yellow, because it's very all one color, because she's driving with, these corporate little gurus who are working for this investment dude, and all of their trucks are white. Now remember, the original movie, the opposition, all of their trucks were black. I'm nerding out, just stay with me. So we get towards the end of the movie, and she's no longer with the white trucks, and she gets in his red pickup truck, but they have to get this experiment done. They have to test out her theory. So what do? They get a trailer a 40-foot long trailer, and what's sitting on the trailer? Yellow drums. We've got our red and our yellow. That's kind of a way of saying we're going back to our roots. I don't know if I said anything that was helpful. The movie's excellent. It's so good. It's so much fun. Well made. The only issue I had was just some plot things. I can forgive that. It was so much fun. Glenn Powell is that dude. He's so gifted. I mean, yeah, he's classically handsome. Like that classic kind of handsome. Yes, but he is just so good. And he leads so well. Like, whatever he does, I'm sad. Also, the soundtrack is amazing. Shout out to Alexandra K, ma'am. You sound so good in those end credits. I don't normally go back and see movies a second time, but I might make an exception for that one. I mean, that was just so much fun.